What size turbo you got? Well guys, it's actually just a stock Garrett turbo from the factory. A lot of my sound is coming from that intake and the exhaust. I mean, there is nothing else contributing to that sound other than that it's a diesel. So, I mean, if you're wanting that sound out of your LBZ or LLY, it's really easy actually. I mean, there is no resonator on here which contributes to it, but just really the intake and the exhaust is all you need. That your catalytic converter and your muffler are just taking a lot of that right out of it. So you pull those out and you're gonna have a really good sound. So a lot of people wonder what size lift I have, and if you can tell, those keys are cranked like higher than they should ever go. They're up to the frame. They're wanting to go through the floor. So the previous owner did that. I didn't do that. But they were trying to clear 33s, and I don't know if they noticed how bad their ride quality was, but if you hit a pebble, it feels like you're going through like a cliff or something, because my bump stops are only about an inch from hitting as they are now. So my CV angle is like a 30 degree. I mean, it's bad. I'm getting cracked boots and stuff. So I'd really like to get a 6-inch lift and just lower it all the way, because I'm gonna damage a lot of parts doing this, and it rides really bad. So the back half, the rear, was actually raised about 6 inches from the front when I got it. The owner towed with it, and they had leaf springs from a 3500 on it. So I actually pulled out 3 of 8 to lower it just for temporary until I could get some others. And so I'm sitting on the overloads now because it was like a 9 leaf pack, and I just got some clips and new U-bolts, and I just lowered it by removing 3 of them. It still rides about the same, rough as heck really, because the others were 3500 springs, and it wasn't too hard to do, but it looks a lot better now. So it's really just leveled. I don't have a lift kit on it. My pillar gauges are ISPRO EV2 series. They got a green backlight, and I got fuel rail pressure, turbo boost, and pyrometer with a color band. They have the green one. It's just a full green band right here, but I figured the red would be nice so you can tell when you're getting overheated. They are super nice. The probe for the boost gauge is actually right here on my pressurized cold side intercooler pipe, and the PPE probe actually utilizes a plastic tube. So I mean, if that punctured or something, I figure that you wouldn't even, you'd have to replace the whole line unless you knew right where it was at. Yeah, I guess you could splice it. But I really like the ISPRO gauges. They have only a wire for everything, so you can run it really neatly. You don't have an extra hose that could possibly break, and then you got to replace the whole line. So I really like the ISPRO gauges. The fuel rail pressure just plugs right in. It's super easy. The wiring takes a while, obviously, but I mean, the gauges are top notch. So a lot of people wonder how I leveled my tow mirrors. From the factory, they do not look like this. They're actually tipped up really, really high, like dog ears or something, and it looks kind of hideous. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube. I'm not going to do one just because it's a ridiculous amount of time getting all this apart and slipping the washers in. But this little plastic piece comes off, and then there's 3 bolts, and the top 2 you loosen up, and you can just pull that mirror right down and slip your you put 2 washers in each bolt, and you screw them back up, and you actually have a little play up but not down. So sometimes when you hit a bump you get some vibrations, but it looks a lot better, and I haven't had any problems doing that yet. And these mirrors just look absolutely amazing leveled, so I don't regret doing that. But it took about 3 hours just to level them. So my cold air intake is a WC Fab 4-inch intake with this elbow here, which makes it what they call a stage 2. And I thought that I had an LLY motor because, well, it says LLY in the VIN, but it's actually an LBZ because it's an 06 LLY, I guess. So after the, well, Duramax tuner or whatever tuner you have, after they upgrade your tunes, you're back to basically a full LBZ motor. All the hard parts are LBZ, it's just the tunes are from an LLY if you have an 06 with a 6-speed tranny. So I actually had an LBZ, so I got the stage 2 intake before I found that out because I thought I needed the more air, because this intake horn is a lot more restrictive on an LLY. It's like a 90-degree bend. So I got that before I realized that. So that was an extra $200, and with shipping and the powder coat color, it was like $600 total just for that. And it doesn't have the resonator port or the PCV reroute port, which is this hose. It's your crankcase blow-by. It goes right into the turbo if you don't reroute it. And since it doesn't have that, I had to get that too, and I didn't realize how easy it was to do. That was from Warley Custom Fab as well. It's really just a hose clamp with like a little, I don't know, coupler going into there. But that was $100, really. Yeah, just for hose. $100, and it did come with those fancy little billet couplers though, right? So I had to get that if I got the intake, which puts me at like $700 just for a cold air intake, which is pretty ridiculous. But if you get an S&B intake, it looks almost stock because you still have this huge black box here. This cleaned up my motor bay a lot, and I can definitely hear a lot more turbo bark and spool now. So I'd say that was definitely worth the, maybe not $700 after it was all said and done, but it was definitely a big improvement. My traction bars are I think they're 66 inches. They're from Blown Black Performance, and they come with grade 8 bolts, these huge metal brackets. You drill your frame here and you put the 2 bolts through. That's really the only drilling that's required. Other than that, they just bolt up. And the rear is just a new U-bolt bracket, and it bolts right underneath that. So they send you the whole new bracket and you just slip that under your U-bolts. You will probably want new U-bolts. I have new ones here and they already look old, but they catch a lot of rust. So you're probably going to end up replacing those. If you can get them off with without the threads getting destroyed, you won't need to. But they offer some really nice track bars, and they took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to install. They were $650, I think, with the powder coat. So yeah, those are super nice. I think they're 1.5 inches diameter. I saw some places offered a 2-inch diameter, but they were also about $200 more. So I think for the price, these are pretty sweet. So guys, for tunes, I'm running Duramax tuner. This is back when they actually replaced your whole ECM instead of just sending you some emails. And I have just the standard, you know, DSP5 switch with a dial here under the dash, and I actually don't really like it there because you got to reach down so far every time you want to adjust it. But I can adjust that on the fly while I'm driving, and it is super nice. You can notice a huge difference. It's got a 130 horse race tune and a couple towing tunes, and it's called optimized stock. It's like a plus 90 horse tune. So that is super nice. Duramax tuner offers a lot of clean tunes.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig in?